Today we're going to look briefly at a few of the yearbooks that we have in our collection here in the history room, and how some of the titles have changed over the years. We'll talk a little bit about some of the yearbooks that we do not have that we'd like to get a hold of. And it's amazing how things have changed in the production of yearbooks, especially in the last probably 20-25 years, with the technology that's available now compared to the old days when you were working in a dark room with enlarger and making prints and everything, how much different it is. Starting over here at the right, Osawentha, which means among the pines. There were newspapers that were done by a printer concerning the school district, and those appeared in the 1920s. And one of the articles said that they thought Osawentha would be a good title for a yearbook. And this yearbook appeared in 1936, so we believe that was the first yearbook, because there are a lot of detailed articles, a lot of history about all the different groups and organizations and so on in that book. Next you see the title for many years, from 1949 up through 67 or 68, was the Booster. And that changed there, where you look, we'll jump over a little bit there to the Blue Jay from 1970. First year that I was as advisor of the yearbook, I thought, well, why don't we use the Blue Jay, since that's the nickname here, mascot for the teams and that, so we changed it to that. Now also we see here a little bit back to the right there in 1963, Falcon, and what one of their yearbooks looked like. And going on past the Blue Jay again, we have some from River Ridge. We don't have all those, and we'll be mentioning here quickly in a few moments some of the things that we'd still like to get a hold of. But there we see one from 1998 there. Timberwolves, of course, the nickname there for the school and sports and everything. And then we see various designs here that were used in 2003, and also there in 2010. Now I'd like to mention here, with the Bloomington books, one thing that was different, we had the Osawentha 1936, then we have 1946, which deals with dedicated to veterans and that, and those who passed away during World War II. Then we go to 1949, and from 49 up to 67, we appeared, the yearbooks appeared every other year. And from the 68, 69 on to the end of 1995, they were produced every year. Now what we're missing from the Bloomington high school yearbooks, we're missing the year 1957. 1957. We do not have that at all. We'd love to be able to get a copy of that. Also, the year 1949, we have a copy, but one with no covers, and one is just a photocopy. So if someone has a complete copy with the covers from 1949, we would appreciate it. Now I might mention that if you have yearbooks from any of the years that you might have been in school and graduating and that, we would be glad to get those because every once in a while somebody's asking if there are extra copies. We do have some extra copies for some years, but some years there's only the one that we have. We had extra copies ordered for the last one, 1995, but those went in a hurry. So we protect that very carefully. We usually don't like to send away with any of the yearbooks, just being afraid that we might not get those back or something. So we try to protect and watch those carefully. Now, with the West Grant collection, now we do thank River Ridge sent down the collection that they had of the West Grant yearbooks. And we appreciate that very much, and that they thought about that. They also sent down scrapbooks from the West Grant years, and we appreciate receiving those. But what we're missing from the West Grant years, I know it's hard to remember all these, but I'll go through slowly. 1965, 68, 73, 76, 77, 79, 82, 86, 87, 89, and 90. We do have the other years. Again, if there's somebody that has maybe a copy you don't want to keep that we already have, we're glad to get, because sometimes we get requests. Do you have a certain year available for sale, or could we pick up some way or another? So those all come in handy, so do keep us in mind on that. Now, River Ridge, we have quite a few of them, but missing, or that we don't have copies of, we'd be glad to get a hold of, are 2006, 2008, and from 2012 to 2017. So we have about a 5 or 6 year stretch there. So any of those, or even ones that we do have, again, we have in a notebook here with our collection. We do have everything listed in there. We have a copy down here in the history room, and there will be one upstairs also available. So do keep us in mind on anything like that. With the older high schools like Mount Hope and Patch Grove and Bagley. Bagley, we do have 2 or 3. The condition's not the best, but they did do binders, and there are a lot of pages shown in these big binders that we have. So we tried to cover as much as we could. But if anybody has and yearbook from back in those years, please don't throw it away. If you don't want it anymore, we'd be glad to get a hold of any of those. I think that pretty well covers our situation, but we're always interested if you have an extra copy or one that you don't want anymore, that they come in very handy, and we're glad to get those because they're also sources of history. Maybe at the time they didn't seem important to have scoreboards and everything else in there, you know, oh, we know all that, but then later on, as years go by, you don't always remember all those things. So that's why they're nice. They're still sources of history. Not every place does yearbooks anymore, but we're still existing here in River Ridge, and we do appreciate and we are very thankful for anything that is given to us, and we'll try to make a home for it here.